Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Big Lair here. What's today? Man, I gotta check my calendar. September 15th. Okay, cool. That's the middle of the month. September 15th here in Japan. I'm near Nagoya. It's a Sunday morning. So I think for most everybody else who's going to see this, it's still Saturday evening for you. It's about 11:15 in the morning for me, so it's nighttime in the States. Okay. So this is Big Lair, and I should say my channel name. My channel name is Jack's Private Coffee Corner. I always forget to mention that. I think I gave the reason for that name in a previous video. I can't remember. Actually, my youngest son thought it up when I was living in Malaysia a couple years ago. Used to go to a lot of coffee shops, had a lot of meetings in coffee shops. People always wanted to have meetings in coffee shops for some reason, and sometimes I would take, it would be after work and someone would call me, hey, can we get together and talk about this project or whatever, meet you at the coffee shop near your place. And I would sometimes be out and about with my family, so I would say, yeah, okay, and I would go to the coffee shop and my wife and kids would sit over here, and then I would meet this person and talk about whatever. So my youngest son, for him, going to a coffee shop sometimes meant that his dad was going to be there talking with somebody. So anyway, he had this idea that I should do a YouTube channel called Jack's Private Coffee Corner. I don't know why he came up with that name. It's a pretty cool name, I think. Jack's Private Coffee Corner. You have like private conversations at a coffee shop. Yeah, cool. And while I do drink coffee, I'm not like a super coffee drinker. Some people drink a lot of coffee, so many cups a day. If I drink coffee, it's once a day. Usually what you see me drinking here, this is my winter teacup. I just have water. I actually have pie water. That's this water that's filtered through 9 different filters. There was this Japanese scientist, and I can't remember his name. But my father-in-law did a bunch of research with this guy. No, I shouldn't say that. No. I take it back. He didn't do research with the guy. He read a bunch of research that this guy had done and actually met this guy because he was looking for, what would be the healthiest water that you could drink. And this professor studied deep sea water. Deep sea water, and found that this deep sea water was very similar, was probably as close as you can get to what we need for our body in regards to water. So he did all this research and came up with one of these super duper water filters that had 9 different filtration systems in it, and it created what he called pie water. And we have one of these filters at our house here where we're staying. My wife and I bought one for ourselves, and we used it, everywhere we've lived in Japan. We took it to Malaysia with us. And interestingly enough, the taste of the water that comes out of this filter is the same taste as the water from my hometown in Wisconsin. Of course, my hometown in Wisconsin, when I was a kid, we had our own well water. We were tapping into this underground river that there was a brewery in La Crosse, Wisconsin called G. Heileman's Brewery. And we were getting our water the same place the brewery was getting their water, the same underground river. Real delicious water. So kind of funny that this deep sea water tastes exactly like the water in my hometown when I was a kid. Okay, enough of that. Today's video, I want to talk about cryptocurrencies. I don't normally talk about cryptocurrencies. I've never talked about cryptocurrencies and put a video out about it, but I've had some people, email me privately and say, hey, what are your thoughts on cryptocurrencies? So I thought I would do that today. First off, I want to mention that probably for the last, I don't know how many years, a couple years. So I've been in Japan, back in Japan now about a year and a half. So going way back into when I was in Malaysia, I would say for the last 3-4 years, I have rarely been able to sleep through the night, like get 8 hours of sleep, you know, the typical 8 hours of sleep without waking up, very rarely. And I don't feel tired in the daytime. And I finally realized after about 6 months into this like 4-year period that I was having all of these dreams, these incredibly vivid dreams. And the dreams were of two kinds. The first kind, which I'll talk about in my next video today when I'm done with this cryptocurrency video, has to do with living parallel lives, which I know some people don't believe in parallel lives. So I won't even get into that, but that's the first kind of dreams that I would have. And the second kind of dreams were dreams that were teaching me something. All kinds of various topics. And in the last 6 months, that's intensified. It's really intensified to where I will dream, wake up, and think, wow, I just dreamt about, you know, XYZ. Boom, fall back asleep. And I'll look at the clock, you know. So, for example, it's 2 in the morning. And, you know, fall back asleep, wake up at 2:10. I've had a different dream now, which gave me other information. This just went on and went on and went on and went on for so many nights, so many months in a row. And I kept saying to my spirit guides, like, man, you guys are just, you're hammering me too hard with this. I'm not remembering it. Maybe somewhere in my, you know, unconscious, my subconscious mind, it's all registering, it's all, you know, filling in, and I'm understanding it. But I would really like to, you know, in my conscious mind, understand what this is and what's going on. So you got to help me out, like tone it down, make it more manageable for me. And every night before I went to bed, I would say this, and it took about two and a half weeks for it to really happen. And it was like, you know, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Lawnmower Man. Remember, Pierce Brosnan was one of the main characters. He was a scientist who used virtual reality and whatnot. And then there was this guy, the Lawnmower Man, who cut his grass, who he tried this on, and the guy was using virtual reality to learn, and all this stuff was like boom, flying at him, and he was able to process it, and he increased his IQ significantly and whatnot. That's the only way I can describe these dreams, is it's just like full on bam, 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 all this imagery, all this information, and then boom, I wake up. And I'm vivid, you know, I mean, I feel as though I'm conscious in the dreams. You know, I'm aware of what's happening and what information I'm being given. And then I wake up. It's almost like I'm allowed to wake up to process the information. That's the only way I can think of it. But it reminds me now of the movie The Lawnmower Man, just a boom, 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 all of this visual stimulus coming at me. And I learn the best through, you know, through visual means. So that's very appropriate. And so once I was able to slow things down a bit to where I could really think about it and digest it with my conscious mind while I'm awake, I realized, there's a lot of cryptocurrency related dreams. And last week, as a matter of fact, I really wanted to put this video out last week. You know, life got in the way, busy with work, you know, I have 3 kids, I'm married, you know, life got in the way. And I was also looking for a different location to do my videos. Now I'm just doing it in this room here. It's just the one quiet room I can be in. I'd like to go to, I checked out a temple, Buddhist temple and a Shinto shrine in different places, but the background noise is just too much to really get a nice, I mean, it'd be a great setting, but it's just too much background noise to get a nice video. So anyway, I really wanted to put this out last week because that's really when I realized, I can see what's going on in these dreams now. And I can remember it and think about it. And I was shown, someone was with me. I couldn't see who was with me in these dreams, but they took me to all of these locations around the world, and they showed me groups of people who are manipulating, there's no other way to put it, they're consciously manipulating the price of cryptocurrencies. And like I said, I saw many different groups of people. Sometimes it was as small as 2 or 3 people. And other times it was like a group of people around a table. Interestingly enough, the groups of 2 or 3 people, they were dressed quite casually. So I almost got the impression they were had something to do with, like computers, programming. Not your typical, like banker, CEO type. Not like that at all. I didn't get that energy at all. And I won't go into specific things I heard and remembered in these dreams, because that would just make this really long, and maybe I would, touch a nerve with the wrong person. But anyway, coordinated, conscious manipulation of cryptocurrencies. And other groups, it was like, a number of people around the table wearing suits. I got the impression they were like bankers or related to business. They were like what they call the C-suite, the CEOs, the CFOs, the CTOs of a company, all these, chief executive officers sitting around saying, hey, we're going to do this with the price of that. And man, I really wish I would have gotten this video out last week, because, and I see on my notes, I didn't write this down, but now I'm going to write this down just to remind myself about it. I was shown a group of people discussing Veritasium. That Reggie Middleton's coin, Veritasium. Now, and I can't say too much. I can't take any credit now, because I know someone else, a friend of mine, Aura, she had a very good video about Veritasium recently. And I don't want to steal any thunder from her. But last week, I saw this group of people discussing Veritasium. And like I said, I couldn't see who was with me, but I had someone with me. They were like the tour guide, so to speak, showing me all these groups of people. And I remember thinking to myself, they're discussing Veritasium, but I don't see Reggie Middleton. And I had that thought in my mind in the dream, I don't see Reggie Middleton. And then my tour guide said to me, that's because these people are not in the company. They're not in Reggie's company. They're outside of his company, and they want Veritasium. They want his, I guess it'd be his software. They want what he's built. And when I heard that, I thought to myself, oh, this sounds very familiar. This sounds like Martin Armstrong. What happened to Martin Armstrong? I don't know if any of you knew who Martin Armstrong was. Quite a brilliant guy. He had his own system for investing and trading, and the government went after him, and they wanted his system, and he wouldn't give it to them, and they stuck him in jail for a number of years. If you have some time you want to spend and read about Martin Armstrong, really interesting guy. Pretty sad what happened to him. It just shows you that, if the powers that be want what you have, man, they're going to get it one way or the other. So anyway, in my mind, I thought in this dream, oh, this is just like Martin Armstrong. And this tour guide next to me said, yes, you're exactly right. That's what this is. So I was thinking, oh, that's interesting. When I first saw Veritasium, I can't remember now, it was probably back in 2017. 2017, I became aware of Reggie Middleton and Veritasium, and he has this thing, the Vader, right? The Vader, and your Veritasium is used in the Vader, and you can do all of these things. And there was another individual who made YouTube videos. I don't think this person was connected with Reggie Middleton, but they were just, a fan of what he was doing and a supporter, and they were doing some beta testing, so they had a lot of good videos. And I actually had some communication with this person, and I remember writing to this YouTuber saying, my God, this is amazing. if I'm understanding what Reggie has, this Vader system with this Veritasium token, if I'm understanding this correctly, this is like paradigm shifting stuff here. Like this is gonna change everything for banking and investing, and oh man, you know, the possibilities are endless. And I said to this guy, I'm surprised Reggie Middleton is still walking around healthy. You know, because once certain individuals in the government or in the shadow government, or however you want to say it, the powers that be, you know, give whatever name you want to it, as soon as they realize what this guy has, they're going to come after him and they're going to take this thing. They're going to try, you know, literally they're going to take it, you know, whether they whack him and take the thing, and or he has a boating accident, or he drowns in a hot tub, or whatever it is, you know, man, I can't believe this guy's still walking around talking about this. So they must not know about it yet. That's exactly what I wrote to this guy. And I showed some of these videos to people in my family. And I said, you know, I showed them the video. They had a hard time understanding it. I explained it the way I understood it, because I was, you know, lucky enough to meet this YouTuber, and he gave me a lot of insight into what was happening. And I said to, you know, some family members, can you believe that this guy has this thing and no one's taken him out yet? Oh man, it's unbelievable. Like, I wanted in on this project. At that time, I think the token was quite expensive then. You know, it was over, I want to say it was over 200, but my memory could be wrong on that. But it was a lot more than it is now. I think now it's about, what, $11 or something, and it did drop down to around 5 something, maybe a little less here when this stuff came out with the SEC and Reggie. So I wanted in way back in 2017, but something stopped me. You know, now I realize, you know, I've learned a lot of stuff in the last 6 to 9 months about psychic abilities, spirit guides, you know, all of the, you know, clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, you know, psychometry, all this stuff, right? So anyway, looking back, I realized, oh, it was my spirit guides who said, whoa, 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 you don't want to get into it yet. Wait. It was a real big, like, wait, don't do this. Like, I was ready to, man, I'm going to get my Ethereum and shoot it off to Reggie and get these things, but on 3 occasions I tried to do it, and I was given a really big wait. Don't do it yet. This is going to be huge, but you don't want to do it yet. So that's where it stood for me. And then when the price went down recently, hugely went down, I thought, oh man, this is the time to buy. Okay, now I'm going to pull the trigger and get this stuff. Same thing, I was told, wait. Just wait. So I guess if someone was asking my advice, I would say, well, number one, don't take advice from me, because I don't know shit about anything. However, if we were, you know, having a few cups of coffee, maybe drinking you know, some beer, whatever your drink of choice is, and we were just kind of chilling out, sitting at the beach, and you said to me, hey man, what do you think? Should a person get this Veri token, this Veritasium, or not? And I would say, yeah, absolutely. You want to get your hands on some Veri tokens, as many as you can. Okay, as many as you can. That would be my advice. Veri. Okay, so that was extremely interesting for me, that these dreams, I've been able to, you know, slow down the pace to where I can consciously understand what I'm seeing in the dreams when I'm there, and then I can bring that information out. And that was that group of people discussing Veritasium and how they want to take it over. That was very vivid, a very vivid dream. I saw other dreams. It's interesting. There are small groups of people around the world. Maybe we'd call them whales. Maybe they're not whales, but they're able to move enough money at certain times to influence price significantly on some of these coins. So I even saw that. So I just want everyone to be aware that there is extreme manipulation, and I was shown this manipulation. I was actually shown the people as they're sitting down talking about how they're going to do these things. And now I'll be very interested, or I'm going to keep my eye out in the media for people who are involved with cryptocurrencies, because I'm wondering, wow, are some of the people who did this actually, in the executive slots of some of these cryptocurrency companies? Of course, a lot of people probably want to say, hey, did you see anybody at Ripple? I don't really know much about Ripple. There's like this really huge dude who's involved in Ripple. He looks like Herman Munster. No, he looks like Lurch. Remember that show, The Addams Family? Remember that, Addams Family? That was a pretty awesome show. It's black and white, right? Maybe I'm showing my age by talking about The Addams Family, but it was like a show that you saw on, you came home from school and The Addams Family was on, right? And they had this butler, Lurch, this really tall dude with kind of a, kind of a Neanderthal-looking face. And I saw some guy involved with Ripple who looks like this gigantic guy. Like, I'm 6'4", and I believe he towers over me. And when I thought to myself, wow, he looks like Lurch from The Addams Family, And hey, nothing against the guy, but, he has a very striking look to him. So I did not see that guy in any of my dreams. So I'll wait and see if I can pick out anybody else from the, seeing newspaper articles or videos, news clips or whatever in the future. Okay, so just to recap, I did not see anyone from Ripple in my dreams. I definitely saw probably individuals in the Securities and Exchange Commission or someone else who is orchestrating all of this. I definitely saw them talking about how they're going to try and get Veritasium from Reggie Middleton. I saw other people, other groups. I did see people talking about manipulating Bitcoin, but those were smaller groups of people. And like I said, I don't know who they were. Maybe they're whales. I did get the impression that there are groups of people who are able to get their hands on tremendous amounts of money in order to, do pump and dumps. Okay, so that's all I'm going to say about that. And I've got some notes here. I just want to make sure I got to write better here. Okay. Yeah, I think I covered everything there. As far as cryptos go, I believe the market is going to probably be down for most of September and maybe into October. I know it's not what anybody wants to hear. That's not what I want to hear. I'd like to see these things go up. But it's just the feeling I get from it, because I'm interested in, buying stuff when it's low, selling when it's high, and then wait for it to drop and buy it back so you get even more, or else you buy the same amount back plus you have a profit in there. So I'm interested in that kind of thing. So, these continuous lows really isn't what I want, but if you're set up for that kind of thing, you can make money at it, right? Okay, some coins I like. I've been noticing patterns in certain coins over a number of months. The first coins I noticed were OMG, Tezos, and Neo. Yeah, those three. I noticed some very definite ups and downs, and I was able to capitalize on that on several occasions. I was very happy with that. Two things I'll say to anybody who wants to get into a situation where you're going to buy and not just hodl, right? You're going to try and maybe sell when something goes up, and then you're going to wait for it to go down and buy it back. Two things I would say. The first one, don't be greedy. Don't be greedy. I have missed some fantastic trades because I was greedy. Okay, I will admit that. You see, I've got targets. For the coins I'm watching, I have targets, and when it gets to this price, sell this percent. Right? Take emotion out of it. You know, even if you sell at whatever price and then it goes up 20 more percent, who cares, man? Like, you had your target. You decided your target. Like, I decided my targets, right? When it hits this percentage increase, I'm selling. I was the guy who decided that. So there's no reason to be upset if you sold and that went up a certain percentage more. And so don't be greedy. Do not be greedy. Just take what you've decided, you take, and don't complain about it. Don't be a baby. All right? And the second thing is having a good plan. So I just mentioned, I almost started speaking Japanese. I just mentioned that so I've got a system, right? Each coin, I have my buying price, the original buying price, right? So for me, that's like my 0 point. Like, that's my starting point. So if it goes up a certain percent, you know, there's a certain percent increase in price, I sell a certain percent of the coin. Okay, let's see. Let's just give an example off the top of my head, right? Like on the back of a napkin kind of calculation here, and I'm going to use Tezos. Let's use Tezos. So let's say that my buying price was 95 cents, right? 95 cents. And when it gets up to, like, we'll just pick something, $1.20, I'm going to sell a certain percent. Gets to $1.20, right? So I made 25 cents on each Tezos at that point. Sell a certain percent. What if it shoots up to 140? That's okay. Why? I don't care. My next target, I will say, is 145. It's actually 143 maybe. Anyway, so it hits 143. If it hits there, I'm going to sell the next percent of coins, right? And if it goes up again, it hits my next target, guess what? I'm selling more coins. Okay. And I also have targets for when it's going down. Now, if I sold a certain percent at 120, a certain percent at 143, let's say it drops back down to 120. Well, guess what? That amount that I sold at 143, when it hits 120, I'm buying back in. And then if it dropped down again, let's say to $1, the ones that I sold at 120, I'm buying back in at $1. Okay, so you have to decide what percent is good for you. I've got some kind of big percents, you know, big percent increases, and I'm not a traditional trader. You know, I never did stocks and anything with stocks, because the premise, for me, the premise of buying stocks is messed up. Okay, here's what I think. Just give you an example. Health insurance. A lot of people have health insurance. Now, when I go out and buy health insurance, I have to pay the health insurance company a premium. I'm paying money to that company. Why am I paying money to the health insurance company? Because they are taking on my health risk, right? They're going to take on the risk that something might happen to me. And in return, I pay money for them to take that risk, okay? Now, when you buy stocks, you pay money, you get the stock. Who's holding the risk? You're holding the risk. Wait a second. You're paying someone in order to hold risk? Well, I just established that for health insurance. I'm paying the health insurance company because they are assuming my risk. But stocks is the opposite. Wait a second, I'm paying money and I'm going to take the risk? Doesn't make any sense, right? That's almost like, you know, let's say you got a cousin who's a heavy drinker, and the guy, you know, can't hold a job, and he asks you for $50. You know, I'll pay you back next week, and you're thinking, you're not going to be able to pay me back next week, man. If you paid him the money, you're also taking the risk that he won't pay you back, right? It's like a lose-lose situation. So for me, I was never able to get into stocks because I couldn't get past this. Wait a second, I'm paying money and I'm taking the risk? Doesn't make any sense. Why would I do that, right? So I was never into stocks for that reason. Now I know people will say, oh, yeah, you're taking a high risk, but you have a high reward potential. Okay, great, you can do it. I'm not going to do it. So I don't know anything about stocks and trading. Well, I know a little bit about trading. I have an MBA, and so I've had to, study various things in finance and accounting and whatnot. But I just don't like the idea of stocks. Now, cryptocurrencies are similar, right? They're similar. So it's really interesting that I'm able to justify cryptocurrencies, but I'm not able to justify stocks. Although I would argue cryptocurrencies are much different than stocks, and that's a whole different discussion for a different time. Okay. So let me get back to my topic here, which is you got number 2. So number 1, don't be greedy. Number 2, you have to have a plan. You make a plan. If you bought Tezos at 95 cents, and you say, okay, if it goes to $1.20, I'm going to sell this percent. It goes to $1.43, I'm selling this percent. If it goes to I don't know what it would be, $1.75, I'm selling this percent. And then if it goes down, I'm going to buy back when it's cheaper. Buy back, and you're going to increase the number of Tezos you have. Okay, that's all fine and dandy. Life doesn't always work that way. So it could be that you sold a certain amount at 120, 143, 175, and then it hits all of your targets, and now you're completely out of Tezos, right? You've captured a pretty decent profit, but now you're out of Tezos, and you're thinking, holy crap, I think Tezos is going to be a good coin. What the heck was I doing trading that thing? Well, if that's what you feel, then you better not be trading it. So for me, I only trade if I can set up 3 conditions at the same time. So one condition would be, of course, that the price hits my target. Okay, so I've got this extra money that I've put into whatever, stable coin or whatever you've done with it. Stable coins are best. Let's just use stable coins for an example. So you put it into a stable coin, and you've locked in this profit. And the price of your coin, so Tezos now, right? So we've locked in a profit. The price can shoot up, and you're going to keep taking profit out, and your stable coin will get more and more and more and more. Or the price could drop. Well, then you just take the stable coins and you buy back that coin at a cheaper price, which will increase the coins you have. Okay, let's say it goes up and you're out. That could happen, right? So for me, I'm okay if that happens. I'm okay. So the first choice would be you let the price go up and down, and you buy in and you buy out, right? And it goes down, it goes up, you sell, it goes down, you buy in, and you increase it. That's number 1. Number 2 is I have other coins that I'm looking at. There are other coins that are more attractive than maybe just holding Tezos, buying Tezos back. More attractive. So that's the second condition that I'm looking for. Before I would trade something, I'd say, okay, if I trade and get out of my Tezos position, what's the next coin that looks attractive that I can get into and it's still a good deal? I've locked in some profit with Tezos. Now, how can I make that profit grow in a different coin? That's the second thing I'm looking for. And the third thing I would do is I would say, if looking at the market and I think, well, now things are going up, but I think in 2 months' time or 3 months' time, whatever, prices are going to really go down. In that example, I will stick with my stable coins. I will just stick with the stable coins, and I'm able to do that. I can, because if you've been in cryptocurrencies any length of time, like I first noticed, I remember it was 2016. It was let me think here. March of 2016 is when I first dipped my toe into cryptocurrencies. 2016, March of 2016. I distinctly remember. I don't want to give too much away, but I remember where I was living, where I was working, and what prompted me to get in, and everything like that. What I heard, what article I saw, and just something immediately said to me, man, you want to be in this. You want to be in this. And I can remember Cliff High telling people years and years ago, shout out to Cliff High. Hey, Cliff, this is Larry in Japan here, man. Cliff High telling people, you're going to want to get as many of these as you can. You know, it was like $5. I remember he paid 2 Bitcoin for a pair of socks or something, you know. I remember him telling everybody that. And that was probably back in what, 2012, 2013 or something. And I tried like hell to get Bitcoin back then. There was nobody, there were no exchanges, right? There were no exchanges. You actually had to find someone who was mining Bitcoin, meet the person, and then somehow trust that they were going to send it to you, and you had a paper wallet. You know, it was just I tried to do it. I tried to do it, man. I went through all kinds of stuff to try and do it. It just never worked out. A couple times things felt a little shady, so I didn't do it. So anyways, it is what it is, right? So if you've been in cryptocurrencies any amount of time, even if you got in 2017, right, the end of 2017 when stuff started to really go up, you know, you've seen a lot of ups and downs, right? So you have to understand that while our example here, Tezos, oh man, Tezos is never coming back down. It just shot up over $3. You know, I'm out of my position. Shoot. You don't think it's ever going to come back down? Of course, I don't know. But, you know, looking at what's happened in the past, I have to say to myself, well, I think it's probably going to come back down sometime. And like I said, if you get out of a position, number one, if you can't live with the fact that you might get out completely, you've sold everything and it just keeps going up, you missed the boat, now you're out, man, you got to have that next thing in line. Like I said, my number 2 thing is I've got at least one other coin that looks really attractive. It's at a price point where it makes sense to get into it if I have to, and I'm okay with a stable coin, holding that until prices go down, or another coin that's very attractive that might be a little too high now. When it goes down, boom, I'm going to get it. Okay, so that's what I have to say about the strategy if you're going to be into this kind of stuff. So I just mentioned Tezos. I really like Tezos. I've noticed some very clean ups and down patterns on Tezos. Just looking at the 90-day pricing on Tezos, the 90-day high was $1.73. The 90-day low was 83 cents. So I can remember I woke up one morning. Yeah, I had an alert on my phone. I was waiting for a specific price on Tezos, and it was like 3 in the morning, and my phone was on, you know, the vibe mode, but it was like zzz, zzz, you know, it kept like vibing, and I thought, either someone's calling me or it's a price alert. And then I thought, well, I'll just wait and see if it's someone calling, it'll stop. It didn't stop, and I was like, oh man, which coin is it? And I jumped up, and it was Tezos. So, you know, at that time, if you had been like me and you got out, you know, you got rid of some at 145, it actually hit, at that time, I forget, like 158 or something, and I was a little slow on the draw, you know. Oh, I'll wait a couple hours, it's probably going to keep going up. No. Then it dropped down to 146, and I was able to pull the trigger at 145. Okay, so I got out at 145, and then watched the price go all the way down to 98. And my target to get back in was, I think 102. I picked 102. Same deal, 102. By the time I got ready to do it, boom, it's down to 98. I got it. I just put in a bid at 99. I didn't care. I didn't, you know, want to sit there and finagle back and forth with the 98 cents, you know, 98 point whatever cents. Just got it, you know, back in at 99. Well, hey man, you sell at 145 and get back in at 99, you got a pretty good increase in what you're doing, right? Doesn't happen all the time. Let's see, OMG. OMG. I'm trying to think what that was. I don't have any numbers on OMG here. I do have some notes, but OMG for a while was a very easy coin to increase. You know, it was just doing this beautiful up and down pattern. So, you know, I caught a couple of those pretty nicely, you know. And so Tezos I like, OMG I like, although I haven't been following OMG the last week or so. I've been following Tezos. EOS is a good one. You know, the 90-day high on that was $7.59 if CoinMarketCap is correct. 90-day low was $3.15. That one there, I was really slow. I was slow on that one, you know, because I had a certain buy-in price. So I was thinking it was going to go higher and higher than it did. And I didn't get rid of too many of those over the $7 mark. But then when it dropped down to $4, boom, I bought back. So I was like, oh, that was beautiful, you know. Okay, let's see. Coins I like. Now, like I said, don't take my advice for this. I'm just, you know, some guy who's trying to figure out what the universe is telling him. I have been getting some nice insights, I think, personally. You know, I've been shown some interesting things. Let's see, you know, and once in a while I'll have my spirit guides will tell me, they'll show me the symbol of a coin and they'll show me a price, you know. When I first got into some of these coins and I went to buy them, you know, it was almost like someone was like holding me back, and I saw a number in my head like, wow, what's that number? That's a lot lower than what this thing is now. And one time I didn't listen, boom, bought it, and then realized, oh, that number they showed me was how far it was going to go down. Shit. So okay, the second time that happened, really felt like someone was holding me back. I said, okay, I'm going to stop. That's the number. I wrote it down. It did. It hit that number, and I bought at that number. I saved a ton. And it happened a third time. I did it. And with OMG, I've had it happen a couple times. I had it happen with Tezos. With Neo, I had it happen one time. But Neo, I'm not really watching Neo right now anymore. I was before, not so much now. Okay, coins I like are EOS. I think EOS and Tezos are really good for short-term trading. It's just my opinion. That could change, right? That could change. I love Digibyte. I've loved Digibyte since the beginning. You know, there's just so many good things coming out about Digibyte. I'm looking forward to the day when I can buy a house in Digibyte. That day, I've actually, I've been shown my future I've been shown my future self doing several things in the future, and one of them was like getting a house with Digibyte. Like actually literally making the transaction in Digibyte with a house, thinking, man, you know, I got Digibyte for this price and I'm buying a house for this price, man. And I've seen it with other cryptocurrencies, things I'm going to be getting in the future, so that's kind of fun. I don't get pictures of myself in the future very often, but when I do, they've always been 100% dead on accurate. So I'm looking forward to that. Digibyte, I love it. Like I said, OMG, I like that. I like PoonDX. PoonDX. I know that's really down now, but they've got more places adopting it. I believe Pundi started out in Indonesia, and I spent 7 years in Malaysia, and I made a lot of trips for work to Indonesia. So over, a year and a half, I went to Indonesia a number of times, really got a feel for what people are going through there. Because when you go to a place like that and you work with the locals, you know, I would be there a week at a time, and I not only met people at, you know, people that I was working with, I met their families. I was invited to their house for dinner. You know, they had parties they invited me to. I met their extended families, you know. And I saw how people in Indonesia live. They got it tough, man. A lot of people in Indonesia only eat one meal a day. One meal a day. And but they're some of the happiest people you ever meet. You know, you can meet someone in Indonesia, and a lot of families, they only have the clothes they're wearing. You know, it's not like us in the States where you got a dresser full of clothes or a closet full of clothes. No, you know, you see a dude, he's got like a t-shirt on and jeans. That's all he's got, usually, right? And you'll see people, they're clean, man. Only got one change of clothes. I don't know how they do it, you know, if they do it like guys do in prison, where you take, you know, you take a shower at night or whenever you do, you go in with your clothes on, you get them wet, you soap them up, you take them off, you rinse them out, you wring them out, you hang them up somewhere, you get up the next morning and hopefully they're dry and you put them back on. I don't know if they do that or what, but a lot of people are so poor they only have one change of clothes and they only eat once a day. And they're not eating the same thing we're eating. Most people eat rice and vegetables or noodles and vegetables. Very few people I knew could eat any kind of protein. You know, they were eating no protein, you know, and man, sometimes I would feel like a real jerk, you know, because here I am, I'm staying in a hotel and, you know, for breakfast, the cook is bringing me over a 2-egg omelet and I'm telling him, hey, I want one more 2-egg omelet and, you know, I want this and that and, you know, whatever. So I'm loading up on my breakfast and I'm eating enough protein in my breakfast that, you know, that night when I go to someone's house for dinner, you know, what I had for breakfast is all the protein those 8 people would get for maybe 4 or 5 days, you know, so it's really an eye-opener. And so Pundi is from Indonesia. Having some experience with Indonesia, I can see how this would be fantastic, because you see people in the jungle, they have nothing, but they have a cell phone, they have cell service, and a lot of people work for themselves. They work for themselves, you know. So when I saw Pundi X and what they're doing with Pundi, you know, they've got these tiny little like, what is it, like point of sale machines where you could set it there and like, you know, you've got a makeshift counter and someone buys a bunch of mangoes from you and you say, okay, it's going to be this many Pundi, and you punch it into your little point of sale machine and they put their cell phone there, boom, and then you just got paid in Pundi. So I can really see that would be so valuable in Indonesia, because, you know, you're out in the middle of the jungle. A lot of people don't have cash, but they got cell phones, and people are very interested in digital assets and cryptocurrencies in those parts of the world, because they know the governments can mess around and steal the value of the money. They can print money, you know, drop money from helicopters, right? Like that dude in America said. So that's not a good system. So I have a lot of faith that Pundi will be successful in Indonesia. And you know, Indonesia has what, 400 million people? No, is it more than that now? Well, I shouldn't be talking out of my ass there. I want to say 400 million, but I could really be wrong. Indonesia is like 7,000 different islands, you know, and it's one big nation. Fascinating people, very nice people. Some of the nicest people I've met anywhere. And I see Pundi is now expanding to South America. And they're going to have their own phone. They're going to have their own phone that's customizable. A really cool looking phone. So I think Pundi's going in the right direction. I like Pundi. Its price is really down now. It's a good buying opportunity. Okay, electronium. I like electronium for similar reasons. That's off in Africa, right? Like, electronium is in a lot of parts of the world where people are very poor, but as with Pundi X, people have cell phones. They have cell phone service, and doing business person to person, people aren't so crazy about having cash and money, you know. So I see electronium doing well. Litecoin. A lot of people talk about Litecoin. To me, Litecoin is kind of a disappointing coin. I remember the guy Charlie Lee selling a bunch of his Litecoin, or selling all of them, and then the price dumped. I always thought that was very suspicious. I thought that was a real dickhead move. I don't know the guy. I don't know the circumstances surrounding the guy. Hey, maybe he just, maybe he honestly did say, okay, I'm going to get rid of these just so I don't have any conflict of interest. I think his story's a little fishy. Now that I say that, I still think it's fishy. If I'm wrong about the guy, I will apologize. And if I could meet him, I would say to him, man, that was a dickhead move. What were you doing there? Like, something suspicious, man. You knew something. Come on, you knew something. If he can prove to me that I'm wrong, I'll come on a video and say, man, I was wrong about Charlie Lee. That dude, he's got it tight. He knows what's going on, and he just made a, once in a lifetime move. However, I don't, at this point, I don't think that's what it was. So Litecoin, disappointing. Litecoin is the right coin. Really? 5 Litecoin to 1 Bitcoin? Really? I don't know. I see Litecoin going down in maybe the next month or so. Litecoin, yeah, big disappointment. Unfortunately, a lot of people got sucked into Litecoin. But it is what it is. We got into this thing, and there were few people in the beginning who really knew what was going on. There were a lot of people who were talking shit, saying, oh man, this and that, Litecoin's going to be this price and that price. And you don't know what to think. Everyone wants to think they're going to get rich quick, So you get these things, and then you realize, like, oh man, I was hustled on that one. Oh, Jesus. So you just hopefully you either wait it out until you can get your money back, your original investment, or you just say, well, I'm going to take the hit. I'm going to put it in something else that I think will increase much more than Litecoin. I mean, Litecoin, what's the all-time high on Litecoin? I want to say it's like, what, 375 or something like that. So if it goes back to its all-time high, it's not like a huge increase, number-wise. But take something like Cardano. Is it Cardano that has Cardano's all-time high was $1.23? Am I incorrect there? Seems to me the all-time high of Cardano was more than Stellar, although Stellar for a while was more expensive than Cardano. Stellar's pretty cheap now, huh? But so I'd rather, if someone told me, okay, all the coins are going back to their all-time high. Oh, okay, Litecoin's like $70 today, so now going back to 375, you're talking like a 5-point-X move, right? Whereas if Cardano's like 4.5 cents, it's going back up to $1.23. That's if I'm correct on that $1.23 thing. Like, holy moly, man, that's like a nice increase, We're talking like, a 30x move, something like that, more than a 30x move. So I'd, okay, I'm okay taking the hit on Litecoin now if I could put into something like Cardano that's going to go up, that amount. So that'd be my advice. Just wanted to say that. And another thing I want to mention about Japan, this might cause me to catch some hell here in Japan. Everybody has these, grand, no, not grand. Everyone has these like rainbows and lollipops idea of Japan and its economy and, Zen Buddhism and all this stuff. Oh, Japanese people are so peaceful and it's a great country. They love the environment, this and that. And anyone who's lived here a long time and you speak the language fluently, all that stuff is bullshit, right? Now there are aspects of what I just said that are true. I actually lived within walking distance from the Buddhist temple where Zen Buddhism started in Japan. I've been to that temple. I've talked to the priest there. When I say talk to the priest there, I don't mean I went there and said, hey, how you guys are doing, for New Year's, like everybody else does. No, I've actually been there, sat down where the priest said, hey, come on in the back room. Let's have a cup of tea, Larry, and we'll talk about life. I've actually sat down with a couple guys there and talked like for hours about stuff, right? So I just want to establish a little bit of credibility about Japan. And I've been here a total of 17 years. I speak the language fluently, but I do not read and write the language fluently. There's a big difference, right? I can read enough to get by, read and write enough to get by, but if you handed me like a contract or a newspaper and said, hey, this article is about the new prime minister reshuffling his cabinet, translate it for me. Ooh, I'd have a tough time, reading and writing at that level. But speaking wise, I'm very confident that I'm fluent and I can talk to anybody about any topic. Okay. So Japan is a great place. There's a lot of great people. Of course, any country, what makes it great is the people. Japan has a lot of great people. They have a lot of problems in Japan, and I won't go into that because if you're a non-Japanese living in Japan like I am, and you say anything negative about Japan, the government has a group of like computer hackers that will attack you. They'll attack you, like on whatever platform you're on. They will attack you. They do not like anyone criticizing Japan, and Japan spends a lot of money to keep bad press out. Okay, I'll just tell you that right now. So they have a lot of problems, and it's not all, this, Zen Buddhist rainbows and unicorns and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot going on here that's, very detrimental to the country. That's all I'll say. And this leads me to, I want to talk about exchanges in Japan. Japan, 3 exchanges in Japan had some huge hacks, right? We all know the Mt. Gox thing. We all know the one that happened, a couple years ago. I can't remember the name of it anymore. They advertised the hell out of that exchange on TV, and they had these, these TV talent. This one TV talent guy, he was on commercials like every night on TV, like every 15 minutes, like bam, bam. They had his commercial advertising this exchange, and I cannot remember it. But in the work that I'm doing here, myself and my team, we looked at that exchange. They had horrible security, and we gave a little presentation to some investors. I believe it was 9 days. So we gave our talk to these investors, telling them, don't use this exchange. I can't remember the name of hand now. It was on TV everywhere. But anyway, we said, don't use this exchange. They have horrible security. We're worried about it. 9 days later, boom, they got hacked for, what was it? Over $500 million worth of NEM coins. Remember that? And then there was another exchange a month or two ago that was hacked. And I don't know the name of that one, and I'll tell you why. I have stopped having any dealings with exchanges in Japan. Now, as an American in Japan, I cannot use exchanges myself here, right? There's various reasons for that, legal reasons. But I have helped clients use the exchanges in Japan, and they're horrible. Oh my God, I do not recommend any Japanese exchanges to anyone. The one exchange, I'm not going to say any names. The one exchange, I had some clients. So basically, how it went in Japan in the beginning was, you'd sign up on an exchange. You'd give a certain amount of basic information, like your address and phone number, and say, I want to open an account. And they would say, okay, we've sent a postcard to your house. A postcard. You have to wait to get the postcard. You open up the back, it's got a 6-digit number or whatever, 4-digit, 6-digit, I forget. You go to the website, you input that number from the postcard, and then, oh, okay, we were able to prove you actually live at that location. And then you could put in bank information. You had to give a copy of your driver's license. Maybe that was it. And then once your bank information was all set, you put money into your account, you sent it from your bank and you had to do this, wire transfer, right? This is the other thing that cracks me up. So you transferred it to this exchange, and then whenever the money got into your account, you could use it. Well, this exchange, and this is probably one of the most popular exchanges in Japan. I remember this person that I was helping, the first person who wanted to get Bitcoin. And I think Bitcoin was around $15,000 at that time. It wasn't like Binance or these other exchanges where you can go in and see the buying and selling price and you put in a bid and maybe you get it, maybe you don't. It wasn't like that at all. I remember. So we'll say it was 15,000. If you wanted to buy Bitcoin, it cost you 17,000. If you wanted to sell your Bitcoin, they would buy it from you for 13,000. They had a $2,000 margin each way on Bitcoin. Holy shit, are you kidding me? And they didn't have many coins. They had Ethereum, Litecoin, I think it was Mona coin and Lisk, just a handful of coins. All of them had these huge margins between the buying and selling price. They'd tell you the market price like up in the top, but you never get the market price. You're always paying way over or getting paid way under when you sold it. So that's kind of a typical thing in Japan. Everyone's getting screwed, It doesn't matter who you are, you're getting screwed, man. So that's not cool. So eventually I told my clients, do not use the Japanese exchanges. You're just throwing your money away. And that's why I don't know anything about the exchanges in Japan anymore, because I don't follow them. And oh yeah, there was one other exchange I was going to say. They had horrible security, and they actually emailed some of my clients saying, you haven't finished your KYC. You haven't put all the KYC information in. While we're waiting for it, could you email us your bank information? Could you email us? Imagine you email your bank information to one of the workers at this exchange. Like, are you freaking kidding me? That's like a violation of, Security 101. Most exchanges will say to you, you will never be contacted by our staff. Yeah, you will never be contacted by our staff, and the staff will ask you for anything. You may get an email from the staff saying, oh, hey, we have this token sale or whatever, but they're not going to email you and say, oh, reply to this email with your bank information, private information. That was just outrageous. But this one site was doing it here, and they were advertising everywhere. They had huge billboards in Tokyo, and oh man, I was just shocked at how how bad the security was for this place. And you could sign up for these things with Facebook. You could use your Facebook profile to sign up. Are you kidding me? Oh man. So anyway, that's my rant about those things. So there's a lot of stuff about Japan in the news with cryptocurrencies and how they're this, they're advanced, they're this and that. A lot of that I don't see in Japan. The ATMs. Oh, there's ATMs all over Japan. Bitcoin ATMs. I've searched, like the ones that they've said, they are no longer working. Like they may have worked for a day or two, but they were shut down pretty fast. Now there may be someone out there living in Tokyo that says, no, I happen to know where one is. If you're one of those people, hey, let me know. Because I've searched, I found these things don't work. I've had horrible experience with banking here. I remember years ago, American Express. I had an American Express card the first time I came to Japan. I do not recommend American Express for anything. The fees are really high. However, American Express guaranteed that that banks in Japan would accept the American Express card, and I could use my card to withdraw cash in Japan from my American account. No way. I went from one big bank to another big bank, and they all said to me, you don't have an account with our bank. You can't use our ATMs. And I said, no, I've got an American Express card. All of your ATMs have the American Express logo, and on your logo it says you're a participating bank. And he said, yeah, that's for our customers. I called America. I remember calling Chicago, and this is in the days when, if you called from Japan to Chicago long distance, you paid like $2 a minute to talk during the daytime. and talking with a customer rep in Chicago about this whole thing, and in the end, American Express actually cut me a check and sent it. And that was another big fiasco. The banks in Japan don't want to accept checks. They don't use checks here. Well, they use checks, but the average person doesn't use checks. They don't know what to do with it. I eventually had to go to the post office, the Japanese postal, it'd be like the post office, right? The post office has a system, and they're also a bank. Years and years ago, America had the same thing. A lot of countries have a banking system within their post office. In America, we don't anymore. Japan, they have a fantastic banking system in the postal service. The post office was the only place who would cash my check from American Express. Never forget that. So just let everybody know. You hear a lot of stuff about Japan. They're advanced. They're this and that. Don't believe it. Okay. My only thing is, like, don't believe it. It's most likely hype. It's just propaganda. If there really is something amazing going on that I find out about, I'll let you know. I've worked for a lot of different companies in Japan. I have some very interesting stories, which I will not say now because I'm living in Japan, and I don't want to have anything happen. However, if I move to America, which I'm planning on doing in the near future, then I will be able to talk about some of these things. Okay, this is a long video. Wow, I don't know how long it is. I hope you have you got some good information from it. It's just my take on cryptos and a whole bunch of other stuff. If you like it, let me know. Give me a like. Smash the like button. And yeah, hope you guys are doing good. It's Sunday. Wow, I've been talking a long time. Now it's 12:20. It's a little past noon on Sunday, which means it's later evening for all of you if you're in America. Hope you guys had a great, Labor Day. We just had a Labor Day holiday, right? We don't have that in Japan, but anyway, I hope everyone's doing great. You all take care.